Hey guys, it's Jeremy Felt from Harvest Realty. Today's video, we are looking at the exclusive right to buy for residential properties. Again, there may be an exclusive right to lease if you're looking to rent a property, exclusive right to buy for commercial or land, which will have a lot of the similar language as far as agency and brokerage and things like that. But today we're just focusing on residential. So the very first thing you need to decide and you need to talk through with whoever's representing you is how is that representation going to take place? Is the person you're working with, are they going to act as a broker, a transaction broker, or as a buyer's agent? And a lot of times they get used interchangeably and people think they're the exact same thing and they're really not. So it's important to outline and figure out exactly how are we going to be represented. So my personal belief is I think agency is better because a lot of times people you're working with, even if you've not signed anything, you've been talking with them, you've been seeing houses, all of these things, you just assume that that person is working for you as an agent. So it's really important to have someone sit down with you and explain the difference. So one of those boxes at the very top of the contract will be checked. It'll outline what happens if it's an in-company transaction working with another broker within, or maybe a buyer working with an agent or broker is interested in a listing of that same agent or broker. Well, you can't have dual agency, so you're going to figure out how is this person going to be representing either side. And the easiest way to explain the difference is using the metaphor of the referee versus the coach. So a referee, they blow the whistle when there's a penalty or when the ball goes out of bounds. They just call the game neutrally, try and do the best they can to not favor one side over the other. They're not cheering for the home team or the visiting team. They're just calling the game fair. That's a transaction broker. They're not, rooting for the buyer or the seller. They're just, presenting the offer. They're giving the information, and they're just kind of the middle person that has no investment on either side. Whereas an agent is more like a coach. Obviously, a coach wants to do everything within their power to help their team win. They want to call the right plays. They want to get the right people in. They want to coach up the right techniques and do all of that. And that's the difference between a transaction broker and a buyer's agent. So I always recommend a buyer's agent because for me personally, I think it would be difficult to just be neutral. There are some situations where it may work out that a transaction broker is better. But for the most part, I think if I was buying a property, I would want to know the person representing me was acting as my agent. They had my best interest in mind, and that's it. They weren't, just being a referee. They were trying to coach up and help me win the game, okay, or the offer. So duties that are shared between a broker and an agent, and there's skill and care. They disclose information that they're legally obligated to. They withhold information that they legally cannot disclose that needs to remain confidential. They're going to present all offers. They're going to keep good communication, keep records of everything. So basically doing what they're supposed to do. They are allowed to work with other clients. So just because you're working with a buyer's agent or a transaction broker to buy a home, that doesn't mean that you are the only person. You could be, but you're not the only client that that agent or broker may or may not have. And basically, the agent and the broker are doing everything legally within their power to get you the best offer, but additional duties of an agent, which is why I really like agency, because I feel like this is what you should be doing anyways. It's difficult to say a broker would stop at those duties outlined in Section 5 and not do these additional duties. But really, if they're a broker, they're not supposed to be doing these because this is the duties of an agent. So additional duties, the first one, promoting the interests of the buyer with the utmost good faith, loyalty, and fidelity. So if I'm a buyer, I want someone promoting the best interest of me as the buyer. Seeking a price and terms that are acceptable to the buyer. Again, that seems like that should be, that's something you'd probably want as a buyer. I want this, whoever's representing me, to be acting on my behalf to get the best possible outcome for me. That's what we're hired them to do. That's what they're getting paid to do. So that's what they should be doing, in my opinion. And then counsel the buyer as any material benefits or risk of a transaction. That's really the big thing that separates. So a coach is going to go to their team and say, guys, this side of the field is really open, or if we run this play, I think it's really going to work based on what I'm seeing from the defense, or whatever the case may be. For an example, that's what you want to do. Whereas a referee, they're not going to go run over to one side or the other and say, hey guys, I'm noticing from where I'm standing that, this play is open if you run it. They couldn't do that. That would be illegal, that'd be unethical, and all of those things. Same thing with a broker, transaction broker. So that's where I think agency is the best. That's what you want to decide. That's not everything to the exclusive right to buy, but that's really the biggest question you need to ask is how are you going to be represented? How long is that representation going to take place? Is it going to be a transaction broker, or is it going to be a buyer's agent? Thank you guys. Hope it was informative. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.